Episode 1 of Undead Unluck starts out with Izumo, who, after finishing up reading a romance manga, decides that the best course of action is to dive headfirst into a train. Right before she jumps though, our good pal Andy stops her. After touching Izumo though, bad luck befalls our Andy and he kisses the train on accident. Turns out that Andy Pandy is unable to kick the bucket no matter what though, and instantly responds. Putting two and two together, Andy now understands that Izumo might be the key to his goal due to her immense unluck. Andy therefore kidnaps Izumo and decides to take her to his hiding place to use her unluck to end it all. Before anything is able to happen though, the two are ambushed by some bad guys who lock up Andy and try to take Izumo for themselves. In the end though, Izumo's unluck knows no bounds and it destroys her captors by summoning a meteorite. And that's how episode 2 of Undead Unluck starts out, with Izumo complaining about the fact that she wasted her first kiss on Andy. Izumo also figures out that it's likability that causes her unluck to transfer to another person in worse degrees than usual, meaning that the more she likes Andy, the worse unluck will befall on him when they finally do the funny business, if you catch my drift. Izumo therefore makes sure that Andy won't force anything, because that would actually cause her to hate him forever. Andy does make it clear that he'll try to make Izumo fall for him though, as that would eventually mean the absolute worst unluck would befall on him. It isn't long, however, before the two of them are attacked by a pair of dangerous individuals, a robot and a buff guy with blue hair. After some heavy fighting, Andy manages to destroy the robot, but is unable to defeat the buff guy. Izumo therefore decides to do some X-rated stuff with Andy to, hopefully, have him kick the bucket and therefore make his dream come true before the buff guy with blue hair is able to ruin their plans. Totally amused, the buff guy decides to spare our protagonists and give them a chance. Go and off a member of his team instead, and he'll put in a good word for Andy and Izumo. They agree and are now off to Russia, where they'll need to off the other member. And that's how episode 3 of Undead Unluck starts out, with Izumo and Andy traveling to Russia by boat. It isn't long until they're attacked though. Just barely surviving the attacks, our two main protagonists make it to Russia, where they decide to split up for a while. Andy encourages Izumo to go and have fun and make some friends, which she actually succeeds in. She meets a seemingly nice girl who likes to paint and is interested in Japan. After spending the day together though, this nice girl turns out to be a mysterious enemy. Andy comes to the rescue and protects Izumo, and we are left with the three of them facing each other off. Episode 4 of Undead Unluck starts out with our protagonists Andy and Fuuko facing off against their newfound enemy, Gina Chamber. Gina explains how she captured Andy many years ago and how she fell in love with him while he was in captivity and she was his jailer. Andy never reciprocated this love though, which has always hurt Gina. Seeing Andy being so close and friendly with Fuuko is bothering Gina more than she'd like, enraging her to no point. Gina attacks the two protagonists indiscriminately in a fit of rage, and it seems like all hope is lost because it looks like Gina has no weaknesses. She's able to attack Andy and Fuuko from huge distances while shielding herself with an invisible barrier. Fortunately, Andy has a trick up his sleeve, covering Gina in his own blood, which as an undead is a viable strategy I guess. Andy is able to see the invisible hands that Gina is controlling with her powers. He's also able to spot a small opening within Gina's invisible shield. Leveraging Fuuko's unluck, Andy is sent flying into the shield, unleashing the unluck bestowed upon him and destroying not only himself, but Gina and her invisible shield in the process. We end the episode with Gina kicking the bucket, but not before Andy shows her that he liked her all along. The episode begins with Andy and Fuuko reflecting on Gina's death at a closed diner. Fuuko inquires if they could influence the Union to change their ways, to which Andy agrees but advises caution. They are taken to the Union HQ, meeting various members including Juice, Billy, Phil, Tatiana, Ishin, Top, and Nico. A conflict arises with Tatiana over Gina's death, but it's interrupted when Apocalypse, a demonic book, announces UMA retrieval quests with a deadline. Fuuko seeks information about Apocalypse from Top, learning about its artificial nature and the harsh missions it assigns. The members discuss whether to comply with Apocalypse, considering Gina's disdain for the system. Juice justifies their compliance with the hope of growing stronger to defeat a god linked to Apocalypse. Fuuko and Andy are proposed as potential new leaders of the Union by Juice. Andy demands Apocalypse reveal the hardest mission, involving 3 members, and chooses Shen to join them. Preparations begin, but an emergency arises with a rogue UMA in the facility, which ultimately becomes Andy's servant, named Clothy. The episode concludes with the reveal of another UMA in New York, tied to the protagonist's quest. Andy, Fuuko, and Shen head to Longing Town for a mission possibly connected to their spoil mission. After a spooky transmission, they arrive at night. Fuuko expresses her desire to assist and uncover the truth about Unrepair, hoping it could help Andy. Andy confronts Spoil's zombie army, using his abilities and a rocket launcher. They encounter a spoiled woman who promises to lead them to Spoil in exchange for marriage. Shen advises caution, noting Spoil's unpredictable nature. Andy is affected by Spoil's ability, gaining the ability to understand the spoiled woman. Shen and Fuuko follow a boy into an underground tunnel, learning about the children affected by Spoil. Fuuko gets cursed by entering Spoil's zone, and Andy fights Spoil with the assistance of the zombies. The episode ends with a zombie assault on Spoil.